I'd like to call this meeting to order. My name is Christopher Harding, President of the Board. Molly, would you mind doing the roll call?
Okay, Miss Allen?
Here.
Mr. Harding?
Here.
Miss Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Olson?
Here.
Miss Redden?
Here.
Awesome. Thank you. Before we get into our regular agenda, do we have anybody that's here for public comment? Okay. All right. Before we turn over to our reports, we did just kind of want to talk about our time up in Columbus. So I know there's been a lot of talk in the news, and many of our patrons have been phoning in their state representatives and legislators. And I really just want to thank the team effort here. Not only have many of our board members stepped up to the call and have used their own connections to advocate for this library funding and this board and this system, and I'm really thankful for that. I want to thank all the staff that has participated in those calls as well, and all the folks that attended OLC across the state. It was a really amazing turnout to see that, and we had some really productive conversations with folks up in Columbus. And I know we put out the blast that we were happy to see that our funding was restored to its to the levels that we were hoping for. I know there's still more to be done, right? I mean, we are, as Trustee Colleen Reynolds has stated in a meeting, we're in the first quarter of this fight, right? And even though we're 20 points up, there's still a full game to go. So certainly want to make sure we're all still in the game, our eyes on the ball as we get this across the finish line. I think they're looking at hopefully getting the final package and everything between the House and the Senate to the governor's desk this summer. So certainly are hoping for a good outcome in all those conversations. And really thankful to Trustee Redden, who came up there with the team, and thank you for all of the work that you did. I know we had some tough conversations with folks, but also some really productive conversations. I don't know if you wanted to opine on anything.
Yeah, it was, some of it was like before we got there on Tuesday morning, but it's that unintended consequences, great idea to do this, but the distribution, the way it was originally done with population only and put three of the large population areas, a loss of 10 plus million was not intended. And what I was told was the formula wasn't just supposed to be population, there were supposed to be other factors, and that either didn't get translated or it was a cover, but it didn't matter because by the time they voted, we were not in the red. As Mr. Harding said, more to come, because now it goes to the Senate with their ideas. But in the lunch, Senator Serino said we don't want to nitpick every little line item on this budget. So if it stands, it stands. And I think restoring the PLF fund itself would be great. I don't know that there's will to do that. So we'll see.
Yeah. And there's some other provisions in there that they are proposing that we're looking at. They're talking about some of the displays that we have that they want to change, so we'll see what happens there. They're also proposing changes to our terms as trustees, so we'll see how that shakes out. So certainly want us to obviously continuing asking the right questions and talking to the right folks about all these things and staying engaged. So thank you to the team effort here on this. I was laughing because several of our local reps were telling us, you guys are blowing up our phones.
Please stop.
Yeah.
Call them off.
Yeah, but we sent a clear message, and I'm really proud of the fact that we have been able to pull something together here that's a successful advocacy strategy, I would say,
Right. Yeah.
on this effort. So thank you again to everybody who's been involved. With that, I will turn things over to Paula for our director's report.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome, everyone. Good to see everybody. I will start my director's report off with a little bit more detail about that very thing, the state legislation update and our activities. So you will see here that, whoops, there you go, that on Tuesday, April 8th, As Mr. Harding noted, several hundred library staff members, administrators, trustees met in Columbus, where we did advocate on behalf of Ohio's public libraries at that OLC Legislative Day. We spent the morning listening to briefings, including really compelling comments by the governor and First Lady DeWine. Governor DeWine stated that libraries are the heart of communities, which I think we all know. CHPL staff members Carrie Ratterman and Drew Peterson were part of the library showcase. I think Drew's going to touch on a few of those things later in our meeting today as well. We also were able to, through that showcase, highlight our services for seniors and those suffering from dementia and memory impairment. Senior leaders Michelle Matthews, Holbrook Sample joined Government Relations Coordinator Ray Buick, Trustee Redden, Board President Harding, and me in meeting and talking with our Hamilton County legislators, as well as senior Senate leadership. So we have been trying to make a lot of important connections there. Moving on to the state budget, the House bill HB 96, the Ohio House of Representatives voted to approve HB 96 the day after we were up there. They did that on April 9th. This bill differs significantly in its approach to public library funding from the budget that had been introduced by Governor DeWine. House Bill 96, as Trustee Redden noted, does change that public library fund, moving it from being a percentage of the overall general revenue fund to a line item in the budget. Additionally, it's important to note that the governor's budget increased the PLF to 1.75% of that general revenue fund, up from the current 1.7%, and that was projected to provide $531.7 million in fiscal year 26 and $549.1 million in fiscal year 27 to all public libraries in Ohio, all 251 of us, representing a projected increase in the public library funding from the state. HB 96 provides for $90 million in fiscal year 26 and $500 million in fiscal year 27. So more to come on all of that. Also wanted to note virtual meetings. So House Bill 257, which authorizes certain public bodies, including those like us, public libraries, to hold virtual and/or hybrid meetings. That officially became law on April 9th, 2025. This allows for the option to hold board meetings virtually or in a hybrid format by video conference. So the law requires that the public body adopt a policy for this prior to having any virtual meeting. It also stipulates certain restrictions on those virtual hybrid meetings if they involve a vote to approve something major that's non-routine expenditure, significant hiring decisions, or a vote on a tax issue. We're going to provide recommendations to the board, the staff will, in the coming months for consideration should we decide to move forward with this option. Also just noting, the law does not require this option. It simply is a new thing that allows us to do that. Talking about some May library levies, there are some Ohio libraries that are on the ballot coming up, 13 of them across the state. They have a library issue on the May 6th ballot. They include 8 renewals, 2 replacement, 2 additional or new, and 1 bond issue. So we'll let you know what happens with those. The Institute of Museum and Library Service, I think some of you may be aware of this, but President Trump recently issued an executive order regarding the IMLS, the Institute of Museum and Library Services. As a result of this EO, the State Library of Ohio has indicated that all IMLS staff were placed on administrative leave, and as such, the State Library does not believe anyone is available to process federal IMLS funding or other guidance on the grants managed with IMLS Library Services and Technology Act funds, LSTA funds. You may have heard us talk about that in the past. Sometimes we have utilized those funds. The State Library has temporarily paused the disbursement of LSTA grants, and our State Library relies on IMLS funds to provide programs, grants, and services for libraries of all types. In late March, Deputy Secretary of Labor Keith E. Sonderling was sworn in as the acting director of the IMLS. So we'll keep you posted on all of that. Moving on, we have the annual staff recognition event. Our staff recognition celebration will be on Sunday, May 18th from 5:30 to 8 here at Main Library. We're inviting current staff, retirees, trustees, and their families to celebrate with us. Thanks to our dedicated members of the staff recognition team for ensuring we have this opportunity to celebrate our fantastic staff. Thanks to for the support of the foundation, ensuring we have great refreshments, always important for this event. Cincinnati State Leadership Program graduation. The first cohort of staff will be graduating from the Cincinnati State Technical and Community College Community Leadership Certification Program on April 17th. Congratulations to those folks. Yay! We have 10, yes, yeah, that's a lot, right? We're very excited. And many of them have already taken positions in our organization of leadership, so we're thrilled about that. Okay, year-in review videos. Thanks to 2024 Board President Gregory W. Olson, who did a great job of introducing that CHPL year-in review video, which highlights all the great things we did in 2024. If you haven't checked it out, there's a link here. And Greg, thank you for doing that. Appreciate that. And I do want to note here at the end, this is a really unique opportunity, presentation at the next library conference, thanks to funds that are available through the Cochrane Fund, which is a long-standing fund created by a donation that was made back in the 1940s to our library. It is specifically designed to support staff international travel. I have the opportunity to present at the next library conference in Aarhus, Denmark at the end of May. This event features forward-thinking library leaders from across the globe presenting services and ideas that support learning in the 21st century. My co-presenter will be Daniel LaRosa from Group for Architecture, Research, and Planning. And you may remember him. He's part of the firm that we worked with on our FMP. He was also central to the redesign of the main library, including that fantastic social stair that everybody loves and is great. So I really look forward to that, and thank you for your support. Mr. Harding, that is the end of my report.
Thank you, Paula. I will now turn things over to Ms. Redden, who will present the Facilities Finance and Audit Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Harding. So the Facilities and Finance Audit Committee met on April 2nd, 2025 at the Bond Hill Branch Library. Committee Chair Diane Cunningham Redden, committee members Gregory W. Olson, Colleen M. Reynolds were in attendance, along with Board President Christopher A. Harding. Staff members included Paula Bremheger and Molly DeFossi, also in attendance. It is the recommendation of the committee that the board take the following action. 2026 budget. The Hamilton County Budget Commission has allowed the library to file modified tax budgets since fiscal year 2005, with the understanding that ongoing approval is subject to annual review. A request to submit a modified 2026 budget was submitted to the Budget Commission on March 18, 2025, and approved at their meeting the same day. The library is required to submit its annual budget to Hamilton County by May 31, 2025. The proposed 2026 operating budget balances current funding expectations, current operating costs, and capital project plans. The capital budget has been constructed on the basis of need, that is, what is needed to fund top priorities for capital building and improvement projects as identified in the Facilities Master Plan. The 2026 appropriations presented at the December 2025 board meeting will be based on the actual anticipated revenue and operations as of that time. Approve the 2026 operating budget and capital budget as follows. Operating budget. The proposed general operating budget, general fund operating budget of $89,015,600 is approximately 6% greater than the original 2025 appropriations. This includes allowances for increases to salary costs for the annual merit increase and annualized planned staffing modifications to align with service needs. The budget also accounts for slight increases in other categories of expenditure in support of the strategic plan of the library. The 2026 general fund is listed there, 2025, and then 2026, year over year. Capital budget. The capital budget includes the remaining anticipating projects identified in the Facility Master Plan released in January 2020 for projects between 2026 and 2028, cost updated for current estimates. Intended use of 2026 funding. Life cycle repair and maintenance, $30,207. Land acquisition, $3 million. Sims Township renovation, addition, and maintenance, $2 million. College Hill replacement with new expansion, $6 million. Main Library, 9th Street, and HVAC updates, $2 million. Avondale additional maintenance, $1.5 million. Elmwood Place makeover, $700,000. Delhi Township replacement with new and expansion, $18,500,000 for a total of $63,907,220. Contingencies. The budget reserves two contingencies: a $2.15 million operating contingency, 3%, in the general fund, and a $2 million capital contingency in the building and repair fund. funding carry forward and required new funding. The general fund expects to end 2025 with approximately $30.7 million of available funding. To fund the 2026 budget, the library will need intergovernmental revenue of almost $117 million. The source of that revenue is the Public Library Fund and local property taxes. For budget purposes, property tax receipts for 2026 are estimated at $53,259,450. This is approximately the amount expected for 2025. The balance of the intergovernmental revenue, $63,699,595, is being requested from the Public Library Fund. We recognize that it is likely much greater than the revenue we are likely to receive, but our ongoing facility needs remain greater than our resources. Cochrane Fund. As shared in the past, the library has 44 permanent funds that have specific restrictions for purchases. These funds range from a little over $1,400 to over $2.7 million in principal balances, with two funds representing 60% of the total, $6.773 million, and a total of four funds representing 80% of the balance. The Cochrane Fund, with a principal balance of $12,000, was established in 1944 to benefit international travel for staff training conferences with oversight by the Library Board of Trustees. The Staff Association was named to manage the process for staff to access the grants from the fund. The donor's request was the awards be for a minimum of $150 and a maximum of $500. Of course, that's when people made $2,000 a year. So, over the last 24 years, this fund has been used one time in 2006 for $187. The current available balance to spend is a little over $20,000. This year, we have an opportunity to use this resource when the Eva Jane Remain-Coombe Director attends a conference in Denmark. Given this rare opportunity, we'd like to utilize this fund. Given the cost of inflation since 1944, the minimum of $150 would now be $2,681 in 2025 dollars, and the maximum of $500 would be $8,937 in 2025 dollars. Taking a conservative approach to maintain a healthy balance in the expendable funds, we recommend the following: authorize adjusting the minimum grant from $150 to $1,500 and the maximum grant from $500 to $4,000 in the Cochrane Fund. This application for the funding will be coordinated with Staff Association. Is Staff Association some outside source of something?
That's a group here that is, people join as our staff, and they sometimes run social events over at the
Okay.
zoo and some other things.
Okay.
And they have some of those funds that are historically assigned to them to administer, or at least
Gotcha.
do the administrative paperwork.
Can you get there and back for $4,000 without serving drinks on the way
I'm
over?
going to do my best, Molly.
Like, do we think it's
I'm
only
flying economy, Diane.
it can only be used for international travel?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've
Yeah.
got a lot of funds like that. We've got a lot of weird ones.
Lots
Yeah.
of restrictions.
Well, who went somewhere for $187?
I don't know if they bought
It
much.
was,
Yeah.
it was when Lisa and Joe Hamrick, I think, went to China one time.
Yeah.
And it was one, like, program they went to when they were over there.
Yeah.
So it
At
was,
the library.
yeah, because that was when it was $150 to $500. And, yeah, I did a lot of research, because I'm like, I really don't remember, but that's the only time I can remember.
So my question is, should we increase the amount you could spend? Have you even looked at
Well-
airline tickets yet?
Yeah, I bought the tickets. I really am flying economy. I hope it all works out. The other thing that's important is our house, this conference, they provide like one full pass to everything that includes your food. And the Dan at Group 4 said, Paula, you take the full pass, obviously. So it is a conference that includes a lot of additional support.
Right.
So I don't think, other than the travel and the hotel,
hotel.
I don't really think I'm going to be spending that much. I did have to pay $10 American to do the morning swim that they offer. So I did pay that myself. So
How many days is the conference?
it's the 23rd through the 27th, I believe.
I think you might want to sample some local fare.
Okay.
while you're there. Not
Nadine's
just-
saying I should
not
up
just eat
this
the hotel
like
food.
another 5,000 for the local fare.
Eating your local food when you're in another country, no, that's.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, wait, I had talked to Staff Association, and I think that they didn't want to use the whole balance now. Because there might be some other opportunities. So I was just trying to accommodate the request.
Right, and if I had some unexpected thing happen, we could do a change order, and you could
Yeah.
come back and say, all right, Paula, we'll give you the other $187.
$23.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let's
I
go all out.
I appreciate it, but it is odd
Pack a
that
sandwich for the
we've
flight
never,
over.
I don't know when the next time we'll have international travel. So
Right.
Molly's like, have I got the fund for you? So,
I've been trying to use it for years, but then when I
Yes.
actually went and read it and saw that it had all of these restrictions from 1944, I was like, oh, you should see, I've got file drawers of this kind of crazy stuff, so, yeah.
I appreciate that, but
Yeah.
we'll do our best and.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I fly through Toronto and then I think it's like 8 or 9 hours over to
I
Denmark.
hope
and then
you
I
have a
get
middle seat.
Yeah, yeah. I got an extra $10 off. And then you have to go from Copenhagen to our house. So it's going to be an Odyssey event. Yeah. Kyla's nervous just thinking about it. So I will keep you guys posted. I'll send some photos. as I
Carry
go.
on your luggage, carry on. Don't-
Yeah, carry on.
For sure.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Don't check your bag.
How much are we spending?
Thank you, see what I mean?
How much are we spending?
I think my flight is, I think I managed to string it together for, I don't know, 2,500, and then the hotel was at a reduced rate, and, I figured I'd sleep on the street if I couldn't pay for
probably
that
have a nice
extra,
lobby.
that extra.
Might be chilly in Denmark in May.
It's beautiful in Denmark now. I really think it'll be okay, but if I do have anything that comes up, because all the food and everything is part
It's
of
paid
the
for, yeah.
free pass that I got as a deal with it. Yeah, I will do my best. Thank you, though.
Where are you flying?
A couple of different,
Yeah.
yeah,
Denmark Air,
breeze, a couple of very
Alaska
different.
Air to Toronto.
Yeah, I know. There's one that's Canada Air. It's a couple different Scandinavian. I don't really know what the airport, how to say the flight that goes from Copenhagen to our house. I feel
Yeah,
like
it's good.
that's
It's
Scandinavian.
written in rune.
So, yeah. So
Yeah.
it'll be an adventure. Yeah. Yes.
Well, good luck to you.
Thank you,
that's
ma'am.
We'll be looking forward to your report when you come back.
It'll be interesting.
Okay. 2025 branch maintenance, Mount Washington Branch, Marymount Branch, and Oakley Branch, and replacement of Sharonville Chiller. We are wrapping up the construction documents for each of these maintenance projects, and work is expected to commence in the next few months. Given the system-wide impact of closing 3 branches at the same time, we have evaluated the need for a temporary space for at least one of these locations. Given that Mount Washington has the longest planned closure and most extensive amount of work, along with the fact that there is a viable, affordable option in the area, bless you, we will be entering into a lease for temporary space within 0.2 of a mile from the current branch. The overall cost of this lease is expected to be less than $60,000 and will be factored into the project costs. We have also worked with Turner to treat these branches as one maintenance project to maximize efficiency and streamline costs. Authorize the Eva Jane Remain Coombe Director to modify the branch renovation and replacement 2022 to 2025 agreement, along with necessary change orders subsequently reported for confirmation, with Turner Construction via GMP amendment, subject to owner and attorney review as follows. GMP inclusive of CMR fee and CMR contingency equal to or less than $5.3 million, with a project budget of $7,650,000, which includes an owner contingency of approximately 8.5% detailed below. And I have the 2025 branch improvements written in the next couple charts. And no questions on that. I would ask for a motion to accept and second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Ms. Allen?
Aye.
Mr. Harding?
Aye.
Ms. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Olson?
Aye.
Ms. Redden?
Aye. Property acquisition, the rest of this is for information only. 1609 West North Bend Road. Subsequent to the February 2025 Board of Trustees meeting, representatives from College Hills CURC presented an updated purchase sale agreement to the library. The updated agreement included the following modifications to the term of the LOI. Additional language regarding the as-is condition of the property. Right of first refusal. In the event purchaser intends to sell, transfer, or otherwise dispose of the property, seller shall have the right of first refusal to purchase the property at a price equivalent to 100% of the market value of the property. Seller shall have 90 days to show proof of funds for the purchase. Restricted use or conditional deed. Purchaser agrees to utilize the property solely for purposes consistent with community, educational, or library objectives.
Does that say buyer shall have 90 days to issue approval form for the purchase?
Seller.
No, but he's saying it should say
It should say,
buyer.
it
Yeah,
should say buyer.
you're right.
In that case, CHCRC would be buying it back from us.
Good eye.
Yeah,
That was a good catch.
wow.
I do know a little bit
He
about
was
it.
paying it.
A little bit.
You've dealt in real estate before, have
I
you?
might have a little bit.
Dabbled.
In addition, they have requested a good faith commitment that the library will complete the project within 2 years of a successful closing. Given the uncertainty of the state funding beginning July 1, 2025, no action will be taken on this property at this time. 2024 audit. For the first time in several years, the Auditor of State has outsourced our audit to a third party. Julian and Grubb, this is a common practice on a periodic basis. We participated in the selection process last fall. The work has recently commenced and will continue over the next few months. The Local Government Services, LGS unit of the Auditor of State's office is assisting the library with our annual comprehensive financial report. Main Library Project Update. We continue our work with Champlin Architecture and Turner on facade concepts to refresh the Ninth Street exterior and provide a clear design connection between the two buildings. We hope to have a direction by the June 2025 board meeting. The issue with the public art on the South Plaza has been resolved. A few punch list items remain, and we are working to remedy these items as quickly as possible. Cheviot Branch accessibility, maintenance, and renovation. On the exterior, the masonry work is done. The site work is expected to be completed soon, which includes sidewalks, curbs, paving, and landscaping. On the interior, finishes are being completed in anticipation of the shelving and furniture delivery once the temporary certificate of occupancy is received. We are working towards the opening on May 10, 2025.
And
And
Ms.
we have-
Redden?
yeah, we
right.
have received the temporary certificate.
Just
Oh,
today,
yay,
just
yay.
today, yeah.
And we've received the invitation to the
Yes,
party. It's all about the party. Sims Township Branch renovation and addition. The majority of the geothermal wells have been completed. The concrete foundation is complete and underground line installation is ongoing. The masonry contractor and site contractor have mobilized and more significant structural work is getting started. Additionally, the children's play element design is almost complete. Avondale Branch maintenance and renovation. We held a very well-attended community engagement session on March 27, 2025. During the session, the community expressed their strong need for a temporary space as well as an interest in a makerspace. We are exploring the temporary space options that several local partners have brought to us. We are continuing with the construction documents and plan to incorporate a flexible space for the makerspace area. The community also weighed in on the direction for the new accessible front entry.
Who are the temporary space options around there that you can, it took some doing to find something
we are still
suitable.
working on
Oh,
it, we've been
is
looking
this
at them.
someplace, that health thing? They
No,
never- okay.
there's a few, we've been trying to review, a couple churches.
Several churches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we're still trying to
Not
find
any good
one.
options, right?
That must be done.
It kind of has so far been a little bit of a challenge on accessibility, because some of those buildings have,
They are proposing that we go in the fellowship, which is
Yeah.
underneath the
Basement.
church,
Yeah.
and they're not always super accessible to get into there.
the parking,
Yeah.
so we're kind of reviewing them all. We really appreciate all of the community coming forward, and they're just doing their best. We're trying to find the least difficult option for accessibility mostly. But we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I had another thought, but that, I can hold it. Miami Township Branch replacement. The library held a community engagement in Miami Township on April 3rd, 2025, to discuss the status of the project along with gathering feedback for plans for the branch. There were over 30 people in attendance who provided great input on the future library. The design process will begin in the second half of 2025, with hopes of construction beginning in 2026. The current project budget, exclusive of the property acquisition, is $6.5 million. We will be working with SHP and Turner on this project. Delhi branch replacement planning. The library will hold a community engagement in Delhi Township on April 10, 2025, to discuss the status of the project along with gathering feedback for plans for the branch. The design process will begin in the second half of 2025, with hopes of construction beginning in late 2026. The current project budget is $18 million. We will be working with J.S. Held, SHP, and Turner on this project.
And we had a great turnout for that one as
I
well.
heard that, yeah.
We really did. It was a wonderful meeting, and thanks
That's
to those
great.
folks too.
Forest Park branch, we successfully closed on the former branch on Waycross in mid-March, yay, and transferred the property to the city of Forest Park. We are working on obtaining the project closeout documentation. Mount Healthy branch replacement. We are working on obtaining the project closeout documentation. Exterior sign updates. The second round of the exterior signage updates were recently completed. It included Coreyville, Harrison, Marymount, Northside, Reading, Sharonville, West End, and Westwood. We're getting ready to install a small third phase, which will include Cheviot, North Central, Covedale, and Norwood. And that completes my report. Will that complete our exterior signs?
Still got a few more to go.
Okay.
But we saved the most
We'll have a
complicated for the end.
fourth, yeah, I would too.
That's also on there. It looks pink like many of them, yeah. We do have that,
I don't see it.
we do have
I've
a,
been looking, I cannot
Where?
see
at
the
Bond
one
Hill.
At Bond Hill on Langham, where, see, I can't find
We
it.
don't have
really.
a-
I know
There's a
it's-
sign on the building.
Yeah,
it's on
it's
the
on
building.
the building.
Yeah.
But you gotta find the building.
Doesn't.
There's a
little
little,
hard to
there's
get to.
some written words on another sign.
Well, once you get to the building, the sign's
But
on
you,
the
you, s-
building.
yeah,
It's
you
on
can
the
definitely
building,
see
but
it.
you can't see
don't
it
even
because of the
know where
weeds
you're
and
going.
the
It's madness.
roadway
How do you
and
feel,
how it is.
Greg?
I don't like it.
It's not good, not good.
I've been there 3 times, and the first 2 times I went the wrong way. So
Well,
that-
once you go
It's hard to
once,
get
shouldn't you
to.
be able to find it?
Yes, that's the point. That's why I was so disappointed in myself. But the signage should be better.
We believe in you, Greg. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
I
We
have potential.
definitely-
Thanks.
yeah.
Oh my God. I know, I should be able to figure out this
That's
every
right,
time.
that's
It was
right.
like a year later, maybe. All right, whatever. I should
She
have figured
slips
it
and says.
Well, thank you. I'm going to turn things over now to Judge Allen for the Operations Committee report.
All right. So I want to thank Kathy Bach, our Public Services Director, for preparing this report regarding operations. So the Drew Pearson, Manager Programs and Event Department. Drew Pearson is the Programs and Event Manager, bringing nearly 30 years of experience to the library system. He earned his Master of Library Information Science from Kent State University in 2003. Throughout his career, he has held a variety of roles, including children's librarian at the Mount Healthy branch, before transitioning into management. With 17 years of leadership experience, Drew has served as the Avondale branch manager, Bond Hill branch manager, and spent 11 years as the outreach services manager. In his current role, he oversees system-wide programming, spaces and events, and key literary initiatives, including the Winter Checkout Challenge and Summer Reading Program. Through strategic planning and collaboration, Drew works to enhance library services, foster community engagement, and create meaningful experiences for customers across the system. Are we going to hear from Drew Pearson now? And at this time, let me turn
Good afternoon.
my attention over to you, Mr. Pearson.
Thank you for giving me the chance to speak with you today. I am Drew Pearson, and I have the privilege of leading the Programs and Events Department. I'm genuinely inspired by the energy and commitment our team brings to their work every day. At its core, the Programs and Events Department exists to strengthen and support programming across the library system. We work alongside branch staff and customers to understand what each community needs. In March, to help this, we sent out a program survey to the branches. This feedback will help shape and align our work so that it more closely matches what matters most to our customers. Then we will create programs, tools, training, and resources to bring these ideas to life. On the events side, we support key system-wide moments like author visits, staff celebrations, and community milestones that unite people and create pride in our library. Some highlights from my first 60 days. Our program team hosted a cybersecurity series for small businesses and nonprofits with Dr. Olivia K. Hernandez. In addition, the team also held a timely workshop on spotting online scams. The youth program team helped facilitate 2 youth retreats in collaboration with the summer reading team. These retreats helped to inform and equip the youth librarians as they prepare to promote summer reading in their communities and local schools. Our Events and Spaces team recently supported the legislative breakfast at Forest Park, and they are currently hard at work planning the Cheviot opening and the main anniversary. They are also involved in the May 10th Frederick Bachman event. It has been a fast-paced start, but incredibly rewarding. I also had the opportunity to represent the library at the OLC Legislative Day. Carrie Ratterman, the outreach supervisor, and I tabled one of 8 library showcases from across the state. And we focused on our service to older adults, highlighting a game from our Expressions program, which is available to play after the meeting, if you want. And as we look to the future, my vision is simple but powerful: to build a confident, connected, and empowered team. I want our department to be visible, accessible, and helpful, showing up where needed most. Focused on strong collaboration, thoughtful leadership, and ensuring every program and event feels like it matters. Thank you again for your support, and I'm excited about what is ahead and grateful for the chance to lead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Drew.
I have a question. Is any of your events online, especially the one about scamming and
Yes,
those kinds of?
actually, the one on cybersecurity is online, and the SCAN one is both online and at branches.
Very good. That's good to know, too. So next is library partnership with Adopt a Class. The library is proud to partner with Adopt a Class from here on, it's AAC, to support students through mentorship, literacy enrichment, and community engagement. This year, the senior leadership team, the SLT, adopted 2 fifth grade classes at Sailor Park Elementary, visiting monthly to provide library resources, read stories, and lead enrichment activities. In addition, the library has worked with AAC leadership to bring students to the main library for field trips, including special author visits, offering valuable exposure to literature and learning opportunities. This is a valuable opportunity for us to reach young people, and one of the few areas identified in our FMP is not having a library location as close as is typical for most of Hamilton County. AAC recognized the library's impact, saying, "Thank you for being a 2024-25 Adopt a Class partner. Because of you, 5,600 students, K through 8th grade, participated in our AAC community experiences this school year, almost 60% of our program. Recent field trips welcomed students from Academy of World Languages, Lincoln Heights Elementary, Euler, Rockdale, Sailor Park, and Woodford, further reinforcing the library's role as a community resource for education and enrichment. Expansion of library polling locations, yay! That's one right dear. I love polling locations. The library is pleased to announce the addition of 2 new polling locations at our Anderson and Delhi branches as part of our contract with the Board of Elections. With these additions, a total of 18 library locations will now serve as polling places, reinforcing our commitment to supporting the democratic process and ensuring accessible voting opportunities for our community, and our communities, I should say. By expanding our role in local elections, the library continues to provide a trusted, welcoming space for civic engagement. Cincinnati Enquirer Photo Archive Digitization Update. As noted in the February 13, 2024 board report, the library now offers over 11,000 digitized images from the Cincinnati Enquirer Photo Archive through our digital library. This collection, which includes more than 1 million photographs taken by Enquirer staff photographers between 1945 and 2005, represents a significant historical resource for our community. Each digitized image is enriched with detailed metadata, including subject headings, ensuring easy discoverability for customers searching for specific content. Additionally, customer requests drive digitization priorities, making this an interactive and user-focused initiative. I want to just put a little plug in here and say that over the years, Inquirer's taken some photos of me, quite a few actually, and I had a file full of them, and then I had a small little flood in the basement, and a lot of that got ruined. So I am so grateful that I can retrieve my photographs from this service.
That's perfect.
I'll be there immediately. So, Family Search Affiliate Library status. The library is now a FamilySearch.org affiliate library, expanding access to valuable genealogy resources for our customer. As an affiliate, customers can explore a broad range of historical records and genealogical materials that are otherwise restricted to Family Search partner locations. This enhanced access is available on library computers or through library Wi-Fi on personal devices, ensuring flexibility for researchers. FamilySearch.org is a widely recognized free genealogy platform offering more than 6 billion searchable names and 2 billion historic records, making it an essential tool for those exploring their family history. Programs and events highlights on April 25th, a stuffed animal sleepover at the Wyoming branch. April 26th, ballet and book series at Walnut Hills branch. April 30th, spring literacy fair at the Clifton branch. May 6th, cybersecurity training for Ohio small businesses and nonprofits at Forest Park and Downtown Main Library. And May 28th, So You Think You Know Cincinnati Baseball at the Miami Township branch. And that concludes our report. Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Judge.
should indicate Robert Hendon and Colleen Reynolds are my co-partners on this committee.
Thank you. And I believe Trustee Redden, you had something?
I do, Mr. Harding, if you would allow me a moment of personal privilege.
Absolutely.
Last Sunday afternoon, I received a text from a friend, Rosalind Foltz, who was at the St. Bernard Branch Library right then. Rosalind, you know Rosalind?
Yeah, but known her forever, yeah.
Yeah. It was late in the day, around 5 o'clock, closing time, and they were made aware there was an active shooter situation in our parking lot. St. Bernard and Elmwood police were already there. Later, they found out that 2 of the 3 suspects were armed. The branch manager, Katie Kraus, who's 21 years of service, instructed the patrons to get back inside. Some were teenagers who thought they should leave, but she got them all inside in the back of the building, even though it was past closing time. Police recommended, somehow they'd gotten in touch with her, I'm sure they called her and said, keep everybody in the building. So she made sure everyone was safely sheltered and given the all clear by about 6 o'clock. She was most concerned they'd be paid overtime. She said it was 6:05 before they left. And I just wanted to commend, a quote from Ms. Foltz was, "I think those staff members should be recognized for implementing safety procedures quickly and keeping everyone calm."
Right.
I'd also personally like to thank Kate Kraus and staff for her actions, and Michelle Matthews as our Director of Public Safety
All right.
for providing the training needed in this environment.
Excellent.
So,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you, that's good.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
yeah, yes.
And I'm sure we'll have no problem making sure those overtime checks
Absolutely.
Get
go
them
out.
their 5 minutes.
They needed pre-approval.
That's
Yes,
right.
we're good.
Okay, so you will be staying, you'll be in the hotel.
She'll be in a hotel. We're back to that. And it's a hostel.
will
It's
be.
just,
You
it's a
will be.
hostel, 29 a night. Shares a bathroom with 300 people, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Well, thank you, Michelle, to you and your team. That's
Remind me
great.
Thank
never
you,
to
Michelle.
travel internationally with Paula.
Yeah.
Do it on the cheap, man.
See, I knew Diane, we could not make it through a meeting without a quit somewhere. Here,
No. Nope.
get back in there.
Well, thank you. I will turn things over to Trustee Olson for the Technology Committee report.
Thanks, Mr. Harding. This report is brought to you by Holbrook Sample, so thank you, Holbrook, for your work on this Technology Committee with Diane Cunningham Redden and Karen Lewis. Technology items. Technology Committee met on April 9th at the Reading Branch. Committee member Diane Redden was in attendance along with Board President Christopher Harding. Staff members Paula Brem-Heger and Holbrook Sample were also in attendance. I did not make it. The digital strategy, current environment. As previously reported, Technology and Logistics is working to develop a digital strategy that will help guide decisions in this important area over the next 1 to 3 years. To craft this strategy, we are reviewing 3 areas of our digital portfolio that are under pressure due to costs and demand. integrated library system, the ILS, or also known as Sierra, digital materials, ebook and e-audiobook, vendor suppliers such as Hoopla, Libby, and Friegel. Research databases. For context, we are highlighting the spending on physical materials such as print, DVDs, and CDs. So growing costs and increasing use of digital materials, particularly the exponential growth of ebooks and e-audiobooks, coupled with the complexity of publisher, producers, terms, and that control how we can offer our user access to e-materials, have significantly challenged the public library's ability to meet demand in a sustainable way. It is also a challenge to effectively communicate to our community why their digital checkouts are just not instantaneously available, and that they often have to wait for holds on the digital items. I can tell that frustrates my wife, that's for sure. The appetite for digital materials has grown as evidenced by, in 2015, the whole of CHPL's materials budget was $8,450,000. Of that, $1.5 million went to digital materials like Hoopla and Overdrive. There were 1 million digital checkouts by the end of October 2015. So in 2025, the whole of CHPL's materials budget is $13,500,000. Of that, $4.3 million will go just to Overdrive and Hoopla. We already hit 1 million digital checkouts. That was in February. I'm sure it's higher than that in March and now April. Overdrive and Hoopla money spent. There's a chart up here. Mine is in black and white, so the colors mean nothing. But the pay per checkout model from the vast and difficult to throttle over offering from Hoopla continues to be twice as costly per checkout as the collection we individually select for lease for Libby, which is Overdrive. And the cost per circulation. The library's additional dollar investment in the collections in Libby Overdrive has resulted in 6-to-1 hold ratios in e-audiobooks and 4-to-1 hold ratio for ebooks. You can see that on the charts. Is it okay that we skip through the charts?
I think Holbrook has a PowerPoint that will highlight when you're done with your.
Would you like to do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, so if you finish that, I think then Holbrook has these in a little more dynamic form. Yeah.
Would you like to do that?
Yeah, sure, we can just finish up this and then.
You got it.
My PowerPoint
To
is
jump in?
all charts and pie charts.
Awesome. It's going to be so colorful. Concurrently, we have started to explore alternative options in other areas of our digital offerings, specifically reviewing the changing landscape for providing the integrated library system. To that end, a small team from the library visited Cuyahoga Public Library for a presentation on Koha, which is an open source ILS that is potentially less expensive than our current ILS/Sierra. Additionally, there are less expensive and somewhat less robust discovery layers that provide the overlay for users when searching for items in our collection, which is held in the ILS/Sierra. Potential changes to e-material vendor market. Recently, there has been discussion by several long-term library vendors regarding the possibility of entering the e-book, e-audiobook market as another intermediary option for providing access via the publisher's terms. Our understanding is that publishers, providers of e-material are agnostic on their terms and discounts to intermediary companies like Overdrive and Hoopla. Though it should be noted that this is simply our understanding and not confirmed at this point. If another vendor entered the market and was able to pass on more discounts to libraries, this might change the nature of pricing in the library market. However, this is a costly endeavor for vendors, and success in opening this market might require thoughtful and challenging decisions from libraries. We will continue to offer updates on this evolving piece of the puzzle as we learn more. Search Ohio, Ohio Link update. Search Ohio and Ohio Link, Ohio's public and academic library resource sharing services that we participate in heavily, will pause borrowing and renewing for a period this summer as they transition to a new statewide sharing tool called Rapido, which, I guess that's how you say it, which promises to simplify the user experience and improve operational efficiencies. Ohio Link, the Academy Library Services, pauses on May 23rd at 5 p.m. and relaunches October 27th at 8 a.m. And Search Ohio, the Public Library Service, pauses on August 1st at 5 p.m. and relaunches October 27th at 8 a.m. That completes my report, but we're going to jump over to Holbrook. He's going to show us some data and some charts on his
Great.
PowerPoint.
Yes, Thank you. And
Thanks,
thanks for
Holbrook.
the opportunity to get a little bit further into the weeds on some of this in light of the, some of the budget discussions and just the general national scene with the costs and demands of digital materials in particular. So as Mr. Olson said, that we're looking at these various components of our digital strategy. So I'm just going to take it from a little bit of a higher level into a little bit more granular level, looking at some of the usage and some of the demand and some of the costs of what we're doing at the library and offering all of our people throughout the state, but especially Hamilton County. So this is circulation and spending. Look back to 2017 through 2024, and you can see that print circulation remains high and steady. And that dip that you see in 2020 is because we paused purchasing physical materials, and then we put all of that money, as you can see on the right-hand chart, into digital materials. So that's that spike that you see on the right in the gray line. But you can see that the spending on digital materials it keeps increasing, and you'll see a little bit more of that later. But that the spending on print has remained pretty steady, and then with AV it has dropped off, and circulation has dropped off on AV as well. And so just a little bit further into the weeds, and Mr. Harding helped clarify this slide in particular. So the circulation, this is another look back to 2017, circulation by material type. So we've got books, DVDs, databases, ebooks, e-audiobooks, and music CDs. And you can see their trajectories or lack of trajectories over that period of time. And then what we've spent on those. But most interestingly, the gray line is ebooks, and that goes up and is starting to meet the blue line, which is print books, as for instance. And then also e-audiobooks is another one that has spiked in the recent years, and you'll see another slide that shows some of that. But that's the cost of those things is just increasing more than the actual circulation is. The circulation is going up, but the costs are going up especially much, putting pressure on our budget and making it so that we may have to make some difficult choices in the months and years ahead. So this is spending by material type. This is in 2024, so it's just these are the proportions of things that we spend our money on. So physical materials is on the left, and that's $4.5 million broken up into the different physical formats, and then digital materials is on the right, and that's $7.5 million, and that includes databases and some of the web things. So, but you can see how much we're spending on audiobooks and ebooks as well. So this is what has happened since 2009 with electronic resources, and this includes also databases. But you can just see, 2009, we're a little bit over $1 million, and then it has just gone nuts, and especially in the last couple of few years. So e-audiobook and e-book spending, look back to 2015, and you can see, again, in the last few years, it's just really spiked. And with your support, we have really been able to meet demand because we have been able to allocate more money into the digital resources, and yet we wait. So this is physical books versus ebooks, which is just kind of interesting. We have more pure physical book readers than pure digital ebook readers, but you can see that the costs have conflicted with some of the demand, and we just have to pay attention to the costs and demands of digital materials. The circulation of print books is steady, it's nice, but the ebook circulation continues to increase, and we don't really, it may plateau at some point, but right now we're just fighting to keep up with demand. And you can see that the spending in 2024 on physical books and versus ebooks have almost become equivalent. That's a significant moment. So this is just another pretty picture on how we're divvying up the demand for digital formats. And so in 2022, you can see, but then the real growth there is in e-audiobooks. And e-audiobooks are particularly expensive. And this is Hoopla and Overdrive checkouts. So we have some limits on Hoopla that kind of keep the checkout number lower, but, and we've put a lot of money into Overdrive, and that's just increased the demand, and a little success goes a long way with digital materials because they're very easily accessible. But that's quite a ramp up on the Overdrive. People love it. Okay, this was in the report, but it includes the updated March month. So these are the names of the months, but then the year, starting in 2019, the years on the left of each group. And so the first 3 months, January, February, March, have 2025 months in them. And you can see that, it just continues to increase how many people are using these resources. Oh, for 2019. Overdrive and Hoopla spending, same thing. Notable on this is in December of 2024, you can see that we invested a lot, and that was to really bring the ratios down so that people were getting their items faster, and they're trying to cut the wait time because we really do hear it from people that they want their materials. So again, we appreciate your support and allocating that money toward our digital resources. And this is just an interesting slide. So this is physical audiobooks like CDs and cassettes versus digital audiobooks, e-audiobooks. And you can see back in the day, it was all, you go in and you get a rack of cassettes for your book. And that was the way. But look at the supremacy of e-audiobooks in recent years has just taken off. And I think, again, they're so accessible that more and more people are finding them at the library and they're using them more. And again, those are more expensive than any of the other formats, digital.
That probably represents new use.
Yeah.
So we did those people that you see in 2010, they've dropped off, but it's not been like an even exchange. Now the people use digital audiobooks, and that big spike probably represents new users of
Yep.
that format and possibly of the library.
Okay, this is kind of an updated slide. We've shown this in various forms over the years, but it really just talks about what a bad deal public libraries get for the e-materials. So a library e-book of this Crichton-Patterson eruption book costs, and we don't buy any digital materials anymore. So we lease them. So this is a 2-year lease. So we don't own it, we lease it. It's $75 for 2 years for the library ebook. A library e-audiobook also for at least for 2 years is $70. The library hardcover that we buy is $17.60. We get a nice discount on that, and we buy a whole bunch of them. A customer will pay more for the hardcover book. So that's the one good deal that the library gets in library purchasing. And then the customer ebook, of course, is $16 for this title. And then the customer e-audiobook is $28 for that title. So we pay a lot more for just a 2-year period of time. So we, going up to Columbus, we talked a lot about shared resources. So people across the state can use our resources. And so these are the number of card holders that are outside of Hamilton County. Hamilton County is the big blue one, but then you can see that our neighboring counties have a lot of card holders. Warren, Claremont, and Butler in particular have a lot of card holders, and these are people that are using our resources in Hamilton County.
Rather than the county libraries in their community.
Well,
Because we must offer.
because we have
lots
such
more.
great resources, yes.
Correct.
We're very efficient, so
I
we
was
put a
aware
lot
of
of
that.
money into resources
I've
for
noticed that.
customers. And so, yes, people come to us to use them. And this is just physical people coming across, driving across the line and using our resources. And then this is digital usage in the same kind of way. So you can see, for instance, that so Hamilton County, that's Overdrive, Hoopla, Canopy, Freeding, and Freegal. Those are all of our digital, or many of our digital resources. Hamilton County, of course, uses a lot of them. But then Warren County uses a whole bunch, Claremont, Butler, and then other counties in the state of Ohio are all added together for that.
So about 1/6 of what we use in Hamilton County.
That's right. Shared resources. We're proud to do
That's
it.
a big number.
We're sharing a lot.
We're sharing a lot. We're proud to do it, I'm sure. Okay, so I just threw this in here because this is what our selectors are up against, the people who select the books and people who pay for the books. These are the different the different models by which we lease materials, digital materials. So one copy, one user is the traditional way that reflects physical books. So when you buy a book, and we lend it out, it's one copy and one user gets to use it at the same time. That same model is reflected in the digital world, and that's mostly with Libby. So you have to buy as many copies as you would in the physical. Even though it's a digital thing, it's easy to copy, you still have to pay for one copy for each user. And then it goes through all the other ones, and some of them I don't even understand. Metered access, you have two-year lease period, metered access by checkout. So sometimes it's you get 32 checkouts, and then you have to release the title. All of these need to be released when whatever the model is when it expires. And so it is just up there to show you what we're up against. So we have to keep repurchasing the collection. So things that we purchased in 2017, or let's see, 2023, we're now looking at to see if we need to release them. So you're constantly repurchasing or releasing the things that you already leased, and then also leasing the new ones that are coming out. So it's kind of growing. Any questions on any of that?
I mean, first off, thank you for your work and your team's work on this. I know it's a lot of data to decipher, and certainly I think we want to be bold on this. We appropriated $1 million last year, right, towards helping cut down these numbers. But as we can all see, these costs are going to continue to rise. So we have certainly some decisions to make here. So appreciate the effort on this and providing all this information. Anybody else? Okay.
Great job.
Mr. Olson, are you finished with your report as
I
well?
am. Handing it back over to you.
All right,
Thanks, Mr. Harding.
I will turn things now over to Trustee Lewis for the HR Committee report.
All right, thank you, Kyla. Thank you for preparing this report. Market assessment. We are making steady progress through the first phase of our market assessment, which is being led by the compensation experts at Organizational Architecture. This phase is focused on refining job descriptions into a clear and consistent format, assessing our current position classifications, and updating our pay scale. Due to the high volume of job descriptions that require updating, the assessment is progressing at a slower pace than initially anticipated. However, we expect to have more detailed information to share during the June board meeting. National Library Workers Day. Tuesday, April 8th was National Libraries Workers Day. This is the day where we celebrate and honor all library workers for the valuable contributions and lasting impact they have on our communities. This year, the staff morale team sponsored fun, virtual activities throughout the week, encouraging staff to connect with each other and take part in the celebration. To add to the excitement, senior leadership held an hourly raffle, and the 20 winning locations will receive a party of either pizza, donuts, ice cream, or tacos. These parties will be coordinated and hosted by different members of senior leadership and brought directly to the agency to be enjoyed with the staff. We are looking forward to these upcoming celebrations. Arts Wave campaign. The Library Arts Wave annual community campaign ended on March 16th. We are thankful to staff who contributed a total of $1,465. So I'm just going to add, I'm looking at the pizza party and donuts. And so I'm going to just tell you, as a building principal, my staff, like, I overheard somebody say, like, we're tired of pizza. So,
Okay.
and that's typically our go-to because we have this contract with La Rosa, so we're always like pizza. But tacos were a hit.
Yeah,
Just,
that's a good tip.
yes,
Yeah.
tacos were.
I thought you were gonna ask if trustees could come too.
Well, if you have tacos,
Yeah, then you
then,
might
I
come.
mean,
Okay, fair
yes.
enough.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Taco Tuesdays, for sure. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to keep it over there.
Yes.
Trustee Lewis for the strategy report.
Yes, Stacy, thank you for preparing this report. Are you wait, no? Is it you, Michelle? I was trying to take your shine, I'm sorry. I'm not next, I'm after you, I think.
No, you're next.
Am I?
Michelle and Tara. Where's Tara? Hi, Tara.
Oh, I'm just
Yeah.
3 in a row
You-
today.
Yeah, just a bunch in a row.
Because I didn't see the, okay,
Yeah.
got it, hold
Yeah.
on, give me just a
Because
second.
Colleen was not.
That's
able
what it
to.
is,
Yeah.
all right, threw me off,
Still on you, friend.
okay. Oh, here we are,
Okay.
all right. Strategy Committee, but thank you, Michelle. And yes, for preparing this report. Legislative Breakfast and Showcase. On February 24th, 2025, the library hosted a legislative breakfast and showcase at the Forest Park branch. 14 elected officials attended the event, including 3 of the 10 state legislators representing Hamilton County, Representative Abrams, Representative Denson, and Representative Odioso, thank you. Library staff showcased programs, services, and resources in 6 focus areas: youth literacy, workforce and small business resources, senior programs and outreach services, civic engagement, connections to government resources, and the library's facilities master plan. A presentation to the local officials focused on library resources and the impact of the new Forest Park branch on the surrounding communities. Forest Park Mayor Aaron Brown gave opening remarks. The Eva Jane Romaine Combe Director, trustees Christopher Harden, Colleen Reynolds, and Diane Redding, and representatives from OLC engaged the state legislators in a presentation and discussion on library funding and the FY 26-27 budget, including the need to increase the PLF to 2% of the general revenue fund.
We're still trying.
I was going to ask how that went. Oh, okay.
Keep on trying.
All right. After the event, the Eva Jane Romaine Combe Director met with all but one of the state legislators who were unable to attend the breakfast to discuss library funding and the importance of increasing the PLF. Trustees Christopher Harden, Colleen Reynolds, and Diane Redden also participated in some of these meetings. Partners Breakfast. On March 17th, 2025, we held a community partner thank you breakfast. Approximately 35 guests attended from partnering organizations such as Cincinnati NAACP, City of Cincinnati, Hamilton County Public Health, Independence Alliance, Lighthouse Youth Services, and more. Our partners shared their mission, vision, and initiatives. Paula Brimheger gave an overview of the CHPL accomplishments, services, and strategic vision for 2025. Guests marveled over our new Forest Park branch library, and I've heard great, amazing things from friends of mine that have been to the libraries. And they, yes, they absolutely love it. Empowering the Midwest, Ohio's role in closing the digital divide. Public Knowledge, the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, UNIDOS US, and CHPL participated in empowering the Midwest, Ohio's role in closing the digital divide. On March 18th at the main library, this event brought together leaders from Cincinnati and Washington, D.C., who are on the front lines of closing the digital divide, working to ensure every community has access to affordable, reliable broadband that empowers families, strengthens local economies, and builds a more connected society. We welcomed Congressman Greg Landsman, who provided opening remarks. Next, we heard from policymakers and representatives from local and national organizations on the urgent need to protect infrastructure investment and Jobs Act funding, secure a permanent affordable broadband subsidy, establish long-term sustainable support for digital navigators. Civic Engagement Coordinator David Siders served on the panel, emphasizing our strategic vision to help eliminate the digital divide through services and resources CHPL offers. Barbershop books. We have soft launched the Barbershop Books program. The Community and Employee Engagement, CEE team, are delivering books to the barbershops. We are working with the barbershops to plan a kickoff event later this spring. Denison Culture Survey update. Staff had 2 weeks to complete Denison Culture Survey before the deadline of February 7, 2025. Valerie Thomas, Vice President of Consulting, provided to the survey results to SLT on February 26 and to the managers and supervisors on March 27th. Overall, the scores improved from the previous survey that was completed in the first quarter of 2021. Some scores improved significantly. Results will be shared with all staff in the coming weeks. We are planning to host staff engagement sessions as we prepare to plan, design, and execute future plans for investing in staff as part of our strategic priority of healthy culture. That ends my report.
Thank you. And Paula, I was just going to ask, could we, as the board, get a copy of the results of that survey as well?
I think I sent that to you guys in the PowerPoint presentations. I'll resend
Okay.
it, make sure. It may not have come through. Sometimes those are very large, so if you didn't get it,
Okay.
I try and convert it to a PDF and then send it out. Michelle has a kind of a summary version, and I'll make sure, and if you didn't get it, I'll resend it, because it could be that the PowerPoint is too large for some people's
Got
inboxes. I think maybe Karen, I know yours may have bounced back, so
Mine
I'll
did?
try.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them are
Okay.
just, so I'll resend it, and you can let me know, so yeah,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Paula.
I have a quick question.
Yes,
That does not complete my report. I have to ask a question. So, the first quarter, it says the survey was completed in the first quarter of 2021. So how often?
we had been doing them about every 2 to 4 years, somewhere in there. We paused because of the levy in the 2023.
Yes.
We were sort of focused on that, so we
Okay.
may do it in 2 years.
Okay.
So we may look at doing it in 27 again. We had kind of taken a break in the middle there. We
Okay.
came out of the pandemic. And I think prior to that, we had done a few from another company that we did every 3 years, so it's somewhere between 2
2
and
and
4
4?
years, generally speaking.
Got it.
Yeah. We had a lot of turnover during that pandemic time,
Of
so
course.
Kyla and I talked about how many people may not have even taken it in 2021. Yeah, over
Okay.
half, so we do know that, but again, the results were significantly increased in nearly every area, so that was great news, and there's a
Okay.
lot of good stuff.
great.
Yeah, and we can always have after the board takes a look at that, maybe not in the middle of budget season, we can always talk about that further and unpack it a little bit, because Michelle's gonna really ramp up some of the work on trying to get feedback and unpack further what some of the information is, both the opportunities for growth and the positive things that people appreciated.
Do we have a number on how many folks participated?
We do. It was about 60% of our staff, which I think is about average. I think Dennison said that generally it's like just around between 60 and 70 is about the average. So we hit about the average on that. And it was a little bit more than last time, or a little bit, it was right around the same number of staff, same percentage of staff.
Just over 500. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
500.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah, it was pretty robust participation relative to what you would expect, yeah.
Great. Well, apologies if I missed that email, but
Oh, it
thank you
could
for
have
that.
bounced back.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really a
right.
pretty big PowerPoint, so I
Okay.
wouldn't be surprised if people didn't get it. Yeah, no worries, okay.
Well, thank you, Ms. Lewis. And for our final report, I will turn things over to Judge Allen for the Development Committee.
All right. And I do want to give hearty thanks to Stacy Dennison, our Development Director, for always doing these great reports. And Robert G. Hennon is chair, and Diane Cunningham Redding is also serving on this committee. The Library Foundation, the annual spring campaign and multi-channel appeal is underway, starting with Library Giving Day on April 1st. Early results from Library Giving Day have been very positive, especially in gifts made by new donors. Significant gifts have been received from the HBEW and F.R. Luther Charitable Foundation and Turner Construction Company Foundation to support the Homework Helper Program. Kristen and David Skidmore Jr., Judith Eisenberg, Sarah and James Goldman, and Sarah and Anthony Delicio. Friends of the Public Library. On March 12th, the Friends hosted a pop-up bookshop at the Nine Giants Fermentorium. Okay, this boozy book fair event was very successful, attracting many new customers and potential volunteers. And with
Diana,
that,
you were there too. I'm sure.
Got a vineyard on all over.
Yes, yes.
she knew exactly what a fermentorium was.
She does.
I didn't think about it. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. All right, well, all that's left, I will need a motion and voice vote for approval of the consent items.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and lastly, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Warren.
you.